Hey, what's up, guys? It is me, Jared Russo, gaming editor for Geek Binge, and I have a controversial statement to make. Matchups don't exist. They are a fictional thing. We made them up. Somebody one day, I'm sure back when Street Fighter 2 came out, decided to pit characters against each other in a tier list to prove or to show who was the best character. They made matchups, and that entailed putting together a hypothetical situation in which two characters would play in a first to 10, and then if it was 5-5, the matchup was even, and if it was 6-4, a character had an advantage, and if it was 7-3, then a character had a big advantage. And I think that's bullshit. I think that's utter bullshit. I think if a character has an advantage, they should never lose. They should always win. So all matchups should be 10-0 or 0-10. Like, there is no in between in this model. I don't think that works anymore. I think that's outdated. I think if a character has a pro or a con against another character, whether it be a fighting game or a racing game or a shooting game, then the pros and the cons should exist. But there should be no bad matchup this, bad matchup that. You need to find a way to beat your opponent and not blame it on the game. You need to find a way to turn those pros and cons into, I guess, cons and pros. Not that you would want to find cons. I guess cons for the other person. I mean, when I say that, but there should be no hiding behind, disadvantages or anything like that. Like, everybody can adapt. There is no need to nerf or to buff or to patch or anything, or to even, I mean, if you want to counterpick, like, because you think your character has a better quote unquote matchup, that's fine, but like, you can beat anybody. Anybody can beat anybody with any character, with any gun, with any cart. Like, there is a way to do it. There really is. And I'm not really talking about like super broken games where there's like infinites or unblockables or anything like that. Like, no extenuating circumstance. If you can do it, you can find a way. You can achieve your goal, is what I'm saying. So the first time I really thought this in this line of thinking, I mean, Mike Ross said this a few weeks ago, and I was really, it stuck with me. I was very enamored with that idea, because I kind of do inherently, I know he was saying it facetiously, but like, I do agree with him that there should be no like, oh, it's a 6-4 matchup and blah, blah, blah. No, like, you can win. Shut up. I don't want to hear it. The first time I started thinking this was back at the Capcom 25th anniversary tournament for Street Fighter and for Cross Tekken. Dominion, who is the best Guile player in the world and is one of my favorites, maybe my all-time favorite, he was doing the best out of all the Americans up until a certain point. Like, he beat his demon in Gamer B, he was advancing on, and he finally gets to Snake Eyes. And Snake Eyes is, I think, now maybe recognized as being the best American player. He is the best Zangief in the world, hand down. So it was the best Guile, it's the best Zangief, and I'm sitting there going, this should be free. This is a good matchup for Guile. Like, there's no way Zangief is going to get in on Dominion. Like, this is over. And he gets bopped 2-0, and Dominion loses. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, what in the, like, Dominion, you know this matchup. You play Aqua Silk all the time in New York. Now, if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, I'm basically going to sum it up for you. A big Russian wrestler in Street Fighter is, when you're watching footage now, but like, he should be unable to get in on a character with really good pokes and really good limbs, a really great projectile. Like, that matchup has been garbage for 20 plus years, and Snake Eyes trounced him. He just beats him. And so I really started to think, like, I don't think this whole 6-4, 7-3, 5-5 nonsense, like, I don't think this matters. I think it's just who is the best person, and that is about it. I really don't think there's any rhyme or reason to it anymore. I once saw Dan get top 16. I think it was in a European tournament. Like, he almost beat Gamer B. Like, it was almost pathetic. Like, I really don't feel like there are quote unquote matchups. Like, you can compare and contrast two characters and say, like, well, this move beats this, and this is why this character has a hard time dealing with this person. But to sit there and just, 8-2, 9-1, like, I guess maybe in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, that's the closest to what I'm talking about in this black and white 10-0, 0-10, like, Morgan versus Sentinel or Wolverine versus Sentinel. Like I feel like in those extreme circumstances, it really is that bad. Where it should be like you should win all of the time, and the only reason you fuck up is because of you and not because of the character. Like there's no 9-1 advantage. Like all Blanka should beat T-Hawks. Like that's just how it should work. And if you don't, then you were the worst player, and the matchup does not dictate that. You dictate that. I remember once I'm pretty sure Lucky D beat Wolf Prone at like a Civil War or something like that. Like he found out a way to play the Dulcim in a way to beat the Sea Viper. Like that's it. And I know Dominion he's mastered fighting the Sea Vipers because it was apparently it was a 7-3. It was a horrible matchup. Nobody knew how Guile could throw sonic booms and not get blown up by the Seismo by Sea Viper. Hopefully you're watching this footage now. Like there was like no way for that character to win. It was 7-3, 7, and then Dominion figured out a way to beat him. And now he beats Vipers all the time. Now he knows how to beat that character, and he does not have to go by the matchup. He doesn't have to be dictated by this imaginary thing that we put on this construction. That's it. That's all there is to it. There are characters who are better than others, and you can put together a tier chart in an order, but to go by this 6-4, 7-3 garbage, this nonsense, I don't want to hear it. Like there is no hypothetical situation in which a character beats this character this many times. Because if they have an advantage, they should win all of the time. And if they don't, then it doesn't matter. It's only the player. So those are my feelings. Here are the thoughts of Darren Lewis, contributor to Geekbench, who wanted to chime in on what he thought. So here he is.
Hi, my name is Darren Lewis, and I'm going to explain to you why matchups do matter contrary to anything Jared might say. So first of all, matchups. What exactly is a matchup in my definition, which actually is probably different from anyone else's? But a matchup is when you come into a versus situation. This can be in a fighting game, shooting game, racing game, any sort of situation where you are versusing someone else, and it's kind of like the loadout you bring to the party. Now, this can be a character you pick, a weapon you pick, a car you pick, whatever it is. That's essentially that. It's how yours stacks up against theirs in the specific situation. Why it matters is because there is no such thing as a universal, I can do everything, character, weapon, anything. There's no universal. And that's like a fundamental video game characteristic, is that certain things are better than other things at certain aspects. And I mean, the example I can refer to, but many people won't understand, is like Halo 4. So let's go into Halo 4. You have a couple main rifles that you use. You use like the DMR, light rifle? That's what it is. DMR, light rifle, battle rifle. Battle rifle's better at short range battles. Light rifle's better at long range battles, and DMR somewhere in between. So if I come up to you short range, I have a light rifle, you have, let's say, a BR, you're going to win that battle 9 times out of 10. Now, Jared might argue that that's not important, but that's incredibly important, because no matter how much skill you have in the world, if your opponent has the upper hand already, you're more than likely not going to come out. Now, there's going to be like obviously like MLG moments where you just turn on beast mode and wreck everyone, but like I said, 9 times out of 10 or whatever statistic it is, you're not going to win that battle. So that's a first-person shooter example, a game where people don't usually think have matchups, but if you think about it, they really do. So even if you go into like a fighting game, if you have a character that's super mobile, covers good distance, can zone like if this was like Marvel, could zone like the floor very well, but can't do crap against the air like Iron Fist, then if you have aerial characters, they're just going to tear them a new one. Like there's not much you can really do. But that's a fundamental video game mechanic, is that certain things are better at doing things in the really big term. Certain characteristics are going to be better in certain situations than other characteristics. So, do matchups matter? Yes, they do. They make up fundamentally what video games are about. So to argue that they don't exist is completely foolishness.